When you think of an off-road vehicle, you probably think of Jeeps and other vehicles similar to it. But there are a whole bunch of off-road vehicles, some of which are for sale, and some of which are custom made. From the amphibious vehicle that drives on both land and water, to a flying car, to a Bentley tank. Crazy off-road vehicles you've never seen. Number 12. Ultra Bouncer. The Ultra Bouncer is a 1,000 horsepower buggy that can pretty much conquer any terrain it's on. This thing is so powerful that it can even drive almost vertically on mud. It's owned by an off-road racer known as Tim Cameron, and he has dominated off-road competitions with this vehicle ever since he started using it. It's not just the power of this vehicle that impressed everyone, but also the look and sound. It looks like an absolute monster, ready to eat up anything that gets thrown at it. It's loud and even scary to be around. While this isn't exactly fuel efficient or good for the environment, this thing is a beast and is one of the most powerful vehicles ever made. Number 11. Sin City Hustler. Limousines are traditionally considered long luxury vehicles, but you don't really expect them to have a lot of power, and you certainly don't expect them to go off-roading at least. Well, think again. The Sin City Hustler isn't your average limo, it's the world's longest monster truck. Sure, it's a pretty crazy idea, but it just works. This vehicle costs upwards of $1 million, and it even made its way on the Guinness Book of World Records. The truck was created by Brad and Jen Campbell, two former monster truck racers who wanted to make what they thought was the coolest monster truck ever made. We're inclined to agree. It's 12 feet tall, weighs 15,000 pounds, and packs a 521 John Case-built BBF engine that can produce 750 horsepower. It isn't street legal, but even thinking of such a vehicle is probably a crime in some books. Number 10. Sherp. Take a look at all of the top-selling all-terrain vehicles on the market and ask yourself, are they really all-terrain? Some of those vehicles are simply too big and bulky to be truly all-terrain, right? Well, this one company came up with a vehicle that actually lives up to the all-terrain moniker. Sherp is an all-terrain vehicle that looks a lot different from its competitors. Most of it is simply the wheels. They take up about half of all of the available space. This thing can go through the deepest of sand, multiple feet of snow, and has an ATV clearance of about 600 millimeters. It can climb a step that's as high as 1 meter, or about 3 feet. It has incredible stability that'll probably make you think it's defying gravity. It can climb up 35-degree slopes as if it's a flat paved road. There's pretty much nothing this vehicle can't do. Number 9. Skyrunner. Do you remember watching movies like Back to the Future 2 and wondering when the day will come when we have actual flying cars? Well, that day has already come. The Skyrunner is the first FAA certified flying car. So how does this car work? It looks like a pretty normal off-road vehicle upon first glance, but it also has a pair of propellers at the back that help it take off from the ground. A parachute is attached to the vehicle, and when they're paired with the propellers at the back, the vehicle can have a smooth takeoff and landing. If you really wanted to go off-road, there's no better way to do that than with an actual flying car. Number 8. DTV Shredder. Remember when Segways were a thing? The reason why that fad ended was that Segways were so incredibly useless, slow, and they couldn't make it past any obstacle in front of them. The DTV Shredder, in a sense, is the anti-Segway. This vehicle keeps the same form factor as a Segway, but is able to go through all kinds of challenging terrains at incredible speeds that will feed your thrill. This is a sport vehicle, not just some sort of leisure scooter. It's powerful, fast, easy to use and maneuver, and is the perfect thing to take with you on your next outdoor adventure in the woods. There are now even races with these things, and they're only getting more popular over time. Number 7. Catrike Fatcat 4-Quad. While most of the items on the list come with fancy big engines, this one is quite different. The Catrike Fatcat 4-Quad is a custom quad built by Utah Trikes. And despite not having any engine at all, this thing can breeze through almost any terrain. It can easily drive on snow, dirt, sand, rocks, and it's fully customizable, so you can even add an electric engine to it if you want to. It's easy to ride, just lay down on its comfortable seat and pedal. Number 6. Russian Kangaroo. Now here's a DIY project you might want to try out yourself. Two guys from St. Petersburg, Russia were bored waiting for the snow to melt, so they decided to come up with the ultimate DIY off-road vehicle. Meet the Russian Kangaroo. It consists of a seat for the driver to sit on and two massive inflatable wheels. These wheels allow this vehicle to zoom past any terrain, including soft and hard snow. Since the wheels are filled with air, they can also allow you to drive on water. It's not the most conventional off-road vehicle in the world, but considering it was built by two bored Russian guys, it's almost genius. It's balanced through its tail, the same way a kangaroo balances itself. Number 5. Terex Krx1000. The Terex Krx1000 is an off-road vehicle that upon first glance looks pretty normal, but when you actually see it in action, is a completely different story. This vehicle focuses on the suspension, in which its wheels sort of wiggle around to give the vehicle more stability and traction. These wiggly wheels also allow it to climb terrains that would normally be impossible, even with an off-road vehicle. Just look at the way the Terex Krx1000 climbs this hill with no effort at all. It also has an additional passenger seat, so if you want to scare the living daylights out of someone, then go ahead. This vehicle can also take a good beating, and is probably one of the best all-terrain vehicles you can buy right now. Number 4. Argo Aurora. The Argo Aurora is an off-road amphibious vehicle. What that means is that this vehicle can drive both on land and water. It has an 850 series engine with 33 horsepower that can take you over any terrain, whether it's the hills, swamp, or the water. It has Admiral transmission with Argo progressive steering, which makes your drive smooth and stable. This thing is kind of like a tank for civilians and is extremely powerful while still being rather easy to use. It has 3 different variants, all of which have their own unique features, and it's being touted as one of the most unique all-terrain vehicles on the market right now. Number 3. Bentley Ultra Tank. I know what you're thinking. How on earth can a Bentley be an off-road vehicle? Well, these guys from Russia decided to make just that. They modified a Bentley Continental GT and switched around some of its components to turn it into an all-out beast known as the Bentley Ultra Tank. They claim it's the world's fastest tracked vehicle, and it's hard to dispute that because this thing is literally a Bentley with the bottom of a tank. The creators were able to drive this monstrosity for over 80 miles, but they say this is just a work in progress, and they still have to make some future upgrades for the vehicle. Number 2. Matro Rovo DC. Snowmobiles are already some of the coolest vehicles out there, so what can you do to make them even cooler? This Austrian company might just have the answer to that. The Matro is pretty much a comfortable car seat with some tank wheels that allow you to go on any sort of terrain, including the snow. This thing was designed and tested in the Australian Alps and was able to comfortably go through all of the challenges that are usually associated with driving on the Alps, where in most places there are no roads or even dirt tracks to help you out. It comes in 2 variants, the Rovo DC Sport variants and the Rovo DC Off-Road variants. Number 1. Comiac. The Comiac ATV is a monotrack motorcycle that can go on pretty much all sorts of terrains and pack a punch while doing it. Comiac means hamster in Russian, and this vehicle was named after one since it kinda resembles a hamster. It's about the size of a child's bicycle and has the engine of a small Chinese motorcycle, and it can't even turn. But that's because this isn't really meant to act as a motor vehicle. The engine is just there for support. It's more of a skateboard that you actually have to turn yourself. It can go up to 30 miles per hour and is incredibly fun to ride. Like some of the other crazy vehicles on our list, this one is designed and made in Russia. Alright, comment below which of these off-road vehicles you'd love to try out yourself. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TechJoint, and we'll see you in the next one.